This is us again for the third season of Back2Doc, a rich season where lived experiences take center stage. As usual, we have filled testimonials, a distinguished guest, our star expert, and our indispensable host, Mr. Franck Donka. Today, we're exploring how our parents and grandparents stay healthy in their later years as their immune system begins to weaken with age. Before we head to set, let's hear about the importance of vaccination for the elderly.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Abdurrahim Kamaldin. I'm a public health physician and I would like to share a story about how a vaccine preventable illnesses affected my grandfather a while back. So my grandfather was opposed to vaccination like many people in my village because of different perception about vaccines until my uncle became sick with a vaccine preventable illness, which had some serious side effects and affected him. My grandfather struggled, tried to get money to take care of him, tried money to try to make him go to school and achieve a normal life. However, the effect of the vaccine had a serious impact, not just on my uncle, but most importantly on my father, as he blamed himself for refusing to vaccinate his son while he could. This event had a serious impact on not just on my immediate family, but also on me, as it shaped my perception of how the world has evolved, on how medicine is very, very important in preventing illnesses and how it can help to make people live a healthy life and can also have serious impact on individuals' productivity. Furthermore, elderly people tends to overlook the importance of vaccination because they think they are protected from all the illnesses, maybe due to the fact that they've had a good history of vaccine during their childhood and during their youth. However, elderly people are still at risk of some vaccine preventable diseases, and as much as possible, we like to encourage them to not overlook vaccine preventable diseases such as pneumococcal vaccines help to protect against even the influenza vaccine for common flu during different seasons across the world. So elderly people remain at risk of vaccine preventable illnesses, and will, as much as possible, like to encourage them to take these vaccines, and so that they can have an healthy living and they can have a healthy aging at the same time, because vaccine preventable illnesses could significantly affect their life, their well-being, their productivity, and the quality of their life in all.
Staying healthy for as long as we live for a good standard of living. Frank, now over to you on set with you and your guest. How far?
Thank you very much, Adio Leah. Always good to have you here with us, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all to join us for another special episode on Back2Doc Season 3. And we always bring you fantastic stories and fantastic topics to discuss about health generally, immunization, vaccination, medication. That's why we're here, to make sure we all live better. And I'm not alone, as usual. I always have my very dependable doc, our doc in the house here with us. You're welcome, Dr. Anire. Chima Odiko. You're welcome.
Hello, Frank. Very happy to be here as usual.
Thank you. You're looking very bright and healthy yourself.
Oh, thank God. Healthy pink.
Great. And not just Doctor and I are here on today's special episode. We have a very special guest with us. He's going to be joining us to discuss issues around today's topic. And before I go into the topic, let me introduce the person to you. He's Mr. Efosa Kings. Efosa is a communications expert and also a recording artist.
Yes.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Music is the new gold now.
It is,
Interesting.
definitely.
Great to have you here.
Thank you so
We
much.
just listened to that short interview by the respondent, or the very good doctor himself. He happens to be a medical expert himself. He said his father had a few experiences. Why is it that it looks like our grandparents or our parents are always, when it comes to that thing in Africa, is it an African man thing? I know they agree. Not tell me what to do. I know they collect. Do you think we are better off that we're born at this medical or technology era, or they had it better then?
No, I think we do have it better in the sense that at least now we have a certain level of information that they did not have back then. Generally, I think in a general sense, the idea of vaccine, usually it's either for babies or for a situation where there's an epidemic or something going on that needs a response right now. So I would say that at least today, with everything that's happened, we've been more open to the idea of being ready to take any vaccine at any point. So yeah.
If you are, let's say, let me paint a hypothetical picture. If you were like in your 70s,
Okay.
just imagine you are in your 70s, maybe 79 right now.
Yeah.
Someone told you to take some vaccines. How would you have reacted?
In my case, I trust science. So I definitely would take the vaccine.
And talking about science, we have a doctor in the house. Doc, I mean, we've talked about vaccination for very young babies, day old, to teenagers and adolescents and young adults. But now we're talking about vaccination for our parents, our grandparents, the senior citizens. In the first place, why would they need vaccination? I mean, I would have thought if somebody has grown up to be like 70 already, he must have been a champion. He's a warrior already. He's conquered whatever life had, whatever life to throw. Why would somebody in that age range or somebody in his 40s, 50s, 60s need vaccination?
As a person gets older, a lot of physiological functions, that's normal activities of the body, declines. We have what we call immunosenescence, which is a reduction in your immune response due to age, is normal. And so it makes you more susceptible to external stressors. So things that can stress you in the environment, infections. And also we know that as you get older, there's more risk of chronic diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and generally the system is shutting down. So
That's not good news.
Okay.
That's one way to put it.
You went
not
direct.
not shutting down, but it's not as vibrant as a young person. So you are more prone to assaults in the environment and infections. So you need to take extra precaution, which vaccines can be one of the insurance you take to protect yourself. Okay, so if you remember during COVID, they were saying that most of the people highly at risk were older people and people with pre-existing illnesses. Why? Immune system is not as developed to fight such conditions. So it's necessary. We want everybody. We can have, even though we are old or people are old, you can still be healthy. There's something called healthy aging, where you can still live your best life till the end of your life. And one of the ways you can do that is by taking vaccines that are recommended for your age to protect you against such infections.
And that's that. We'll say that in our own language. You'll be maintaining your steez and composure up to that age. I mean, it's good when you age like fine wine. I mean, I want doctor to also mention some diseases that we need to look out for, that you have vaccines for. But just before then, Efosa,
Yes.
I mean, taking care of older people, I don't know if you have experience or you know somebody, a friend who's had that experience before. What do you think? Because it's one thing to have to, in Africa, we have this very communal way of living.
Yeah.
It's one thing to take care of an aged person, maybe a grandfather, maybe are left in their care. It's another thing for that person now to need extra care because they are not very healthy or they are sick because they've come down with something that vaccine could have prevented. What are the kind of impact you think taking care of people like that, senior citizens, parents or grandparents, what impact can it have on young people as of today? How will it affect our steez, composure, or or
You had to put steez.
I know I had to put it because that's the
put
thing now.
steez.
How will it affect our lives?
I think it could affect us in a very positive light, in the sense that it could actually make younger people realize that, this could be me in a few decades if I'm not careful. Because, like you said, up till a few moments ago, many people did not know that at some point, elderly people need to be vaccinated for a few things. And so this general lack of understanding on topic is quite huge. And so yeah, so when as a young person, when you're interacting with an older person who's going through stuff because they were not immune, because they did not take any shots they had to take at some point, you see your possible self in them in the future, and you know that, oh, this could be me if I'm not careful. So yeah, that's maybe the only positive thing I think could be taken from that.
Thank you. I mean, I like how you did that spin on it, because I was expecting you to go with the negative.
Yeah,
first.
I know.
Because that negative side, everybody knows that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's stressful.
Now grandpa needs to be bathed, or grandma needs to be fed. Nobody wants that experience, and it can be pretty ugly. And in some other societies where they don't have that kind of structure for different reasons, now they have to bring extra hands. That's when you need what do you call them? Aids, health experts, to come in. It's extra money.
Yeah, it's
money that would have gone into other things, for the education, entertainment, relaxation, travel. Now you have to spend it on.
It's very stressful.
It can be very stressful, and caring for an older person. But talking about this care, what kind of diseases are we talking about for older people that vaccines can prevent?
Okay. So some of the, if a person has never been immunized against hepatitis is needed. Hepatitis vaccine. A friend of mine, his mom died from hepatocellular carcinoma, cancer of the liver. It's a long-standing, probably had an infection when she was young, or it's long-standing, but it's something you can also take a vaccine for. The Tdap vaccine against tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis, especially diphtheria and tetanus, because they could sustain injuries, a fall, fracture, whatever. So you need to be protected against that. Then the pneumococcal vaccine, very, very important, because older people are prone to pneumonia, chest infections. So generally, pneumococcal, meningococcal vaccine, they're encapsulated they protect against encapsulated organisms. So yeah, pneumonia, meningococcal, meningitis, against meningitis as well. We have so also based on the region you stay and what is happening around, so you're advised. So you need to, and also based on your own unique medical history, you may be advised to take some vaccines. So abroad, they tend to advise older people to take the flu vaccine against influenza, because they have seasonal outbreaks of influenza, and it could kill. So, but in Nigeria, we don't really stress that so much, because we don't really have influenza like that. But it's also good. Things that, if there's an outbreak of, say, cholera, even though vaccine is not the mainstay of treatment or prevention, as an older person, you might benefit from a cholera vaccine, typhoid vaccine, yellow fever. So you see your doctor. But the ones that then shingles, herpes zoster vaccine against shingles is also recommended in the elderly.
The list long.
It's very long.
Man.
It is. But most people are not even aware. They don't even know that as you grow old, you should take vaccine. But you should, because as you grow older, the immunity of the vaccines you took when you were younger have waned. Whoa. So you need booster doses, and also your immune system is less able to mount a response against infectious agents. So you continually need to have booster doses of most vaccines to still keep your immunity at good shape.
Thank you. I mean, I'm happy you mentioned that part of that, depending on the country you live, because I know, with the movement around the world now, a lot of Africans travel overseas now. opportunities, Japan. People bring their parents to take care of.
Exactly.
So we'll go there. But there's somebody that I know that wants to drop one nugget now. Leah, how are you doing, Leah?
I am doing very well.
Talk to me.
For this time, actually, I'm not dropping any nugget. I have a question myself for the good doctor and for the set.
Okay.
And one thing that a lot of people as they age worry about is fractures and falling, which is something that you have mentioned. The other thing that people worry a lot about, because they want to stay active and they want to grow into old age, is they continue to be physically active, which might have an element of tetanus there. You've spoken of a long list of potential vaccines, but can we talk about the actual repercussions of not being vaccinated? What does this have to do with falling, and what does it have to do with being very active and potentially cutting oneself?
Thank you very much, Leah. So, doctor, you had Leah there. I mean, now everybody's getting fit farm.
Yeah.
Grandpa wants to go to the gym. My grandma wants to get active with gardening.
Sure does.
I believe that's what Leah is talking. So, how do we do that? What's the potential impact?
As you grow older, most old people, especially females, are prone to slipping and falling, and the fractures of the hip. Okay, they can cut themselves, and tetanus, the bacteria that causes tetanus, it can be in the environment. You can easily get infected. So you just want to prevent such things. And then the risk of the fatality of such conditions in old age is usually higher.
Go deeper, doctor. What does tetanus? Let us get a picture of this tetanus, because it's easy to just say tetanus. What exactly is going down when tetanus hits?
It's a disease that caused by bacteria, tetani, Clostridium. I forgot the name, but it can affect the nervous system, leading to there are some particular symptoms. You see lockjaw, spasms,
Can it cause death?
Of course, it can cause death.
Oh wow.
So it causes seizures, affects the CNS, the central nervous system. So yes. So beyond tetanus, things like diphtheria, which is an airborne disease, is also something that is...
What does that affect?
The airways, diphtheria.
Breathing.
Upper respiratory tract infection, yes. It can also, although it's more common in children, it can also affect the elderly, and in them, it can also be quite fatal. And other things like shingles, which is a rash that you have in your torso, especially with people that have had chicken pox when they were younger. It can be reactivated, causing very painful rash, and it's very common in the elderly as well. So it's important that we take these vaccines. And then, like I said earlier, you as an old person that wants to age well, talk to your doctor. Geriatric care is something that is still developing in Nigeria. Geriatrics is the branch of medicine that is dedicated to older people. So it's still developing, but there's a whole science behind taking care of older people. So you want to talk to your doctor to refer you to a geriatric specialist who will counsel you based on your individual risk, based on the chronic condition you have. So someone that has something like diabetes, your risks are higher. You'll have risk for infection, if something pricks you, gangrene. So, and then rheumatoid arthritis. There's a whole lot of things you want to talk about and ensure you are protected for. Instead of just, but the thing is, most people leave it to chance.
Yeah.
I would love you to go into details about, where to access this care and what the cost implication, if there's any, is. But I know if someone wanted to say something.
Yeah, so I just had a question that came to my mind right now. You gave this very long list of different shots, different vaccines that would be recommended. And knowing that the person is already quite old, okay, let's say at least middle age, that's what, 50?
Yeah,
60?
about 50, 60.
Knowing the person is middle aged, how do you navigate taking all those shots? Do you take them at once? All at once, or is it every year? Or because like I said, you gave a long list of different shots. So all those different shots, those 20, 25 shots you gave,
I didn't give 20.
I'm
You don't need fear.
I didn't give 20.
Okay, those 30 shots you gave.
I gave 8.
Okay, those 8 shots you gave. Okay,
Thereabouts.
so should
And there are more.
And there are more. See,
Doctor, stay one place now. You said 30. You said
said-
no. You said 8. Now you
Okay,
said there are more.
in fact,
Okay,
it's
say
40.
Plus X.
Okay, so plus X. So those X shots, should someone take? Is the idea to take them at once, or should you just select the ones you think you could happen to you depending on who you are? Or
So that's what I said. Go see your doctor.
Okay.
Your doctor will give you a personalized recommendation based on the risks you face, the risks that the environment faces. So you might not need to take a flu vaccine because it's not common in our environment. Cholera, you might not need to take cholera because, but recently there has been an outbreak. So if there's a present epidemic and it's spreading fast, people are dying, and people seem to be, they would advise you to take a cholera.
Yeah.
But normally it's not what we'll just say go and take cholera vaccine.
okay, that was my questions. I was wondering.
Yeah, no. But there are some you need to like DTaP, diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis. There you should take booster doses from time to time. Even adults, normal adults, not even before you're elderly, should take booster doses from time to time.
Exactly. And that was where I was going to anchor my question for Fosa on. What do you think as a young person yourself, and I'm assuming you look good. You sound
Thank
nice.
you.
You're
Thank
young.
you. Thank you.
So, I mean, do you think young people these days bother? Because these things don't come up when you're 70.
They don't.
The mindset from when you're young, you don't take all of those things then. Imagine the case of hepatitis B she mentioned, you know, and she said must have had it for a long time. Then in old age, it fully blows up to become liver cancer.
Yeah.
And we know that hepatitis B may progress to that. Do you think young people these days are really bothered about what happens to them in old age, or is YOLO?
I think they are bothered, but I think they just don't know how to navigate their way to get to that level where they age like fine wine in a healthy way. Because like we said initially, the concept or the fact that you need some vaccines at some age beyond your young age is still not familiar to many people. Some people don't know that. I did not know that initially. I never thought about it before. That maybe at 50, I might have to get some shots because the ones I had when I was 2 are all gone. So I think as much as young people, I think every young person that wants to live long in a very healthy way. We picture ourselves being 70 and still being able to walk around, do a few activities and still being active. But we just don't know that means that you need to take a few things before and just be up to date with the shots that will keep you in good shape.
In what way do you think we can begin to spread this awareness? Because I know people will have questions. Normal, we've discussed it on this show. There's nothing wrong with asking questions when you're not clear or you're afraid or you're concerned. There's no big deal about that. Ask questions, but just make sure you're asking questions from the right people and not just assume. So, for example, young people, I know, like you said, that you think it's not that they don't want to, age like fine wine. But then again, maybe the access to that information, quality information. And also what we said a while back, because the migration around the world now, people may go to a country where they don't have the necessary immunity that they would have developed from where their home country. I mean, a couple travels out of Nigeria, maybe goes to the UK, US, or Canada, or some other country. And there are diseases there that people there are already immunized against. And here you are, you come, you're exposed. How do you, all these kind of things. And maybe you went to take care of the baby. You're a grandpa or a grandma. All these kind of things. What are the challenges that you often face, Doc, when it comes to talking to adults, senior citizens, about looking into booster vaccination programs or just even new ones, like protecting themselves? What are the challenges you face that maybe young people can learn from?
So the challenges are, it could go both ways. The first way it could go is that old people, elderly people, they want to live long. You can have the one that is very health savvy and health conscious. Most old people are health conscious. They take it when you're getting old. You start to tend to take your health a bit.
Especially the ones that are old now. The kind of food we eat and the kind of practices we have now. Let me just stick to the first one I said.
Yeah, so they take it. They don't want to hear any story. So they listen. They take drugs. They're already used to all the drugs. So they listen to you. Tell them to do this, they will do. But the problem will now be that the health care system is not really, like I said, geriatric care is still developing.
Tailored for old people.
Is not very, so even the doctors sometimes may not even recommend for an elderly person to take certain vaccines. So it's not their fault. It's even the healthcare. We don't place emphasis on that. There are so many problems we have that sometimes, so many health problems that sometimes reminding or remembering that older people still need to be vaccinated is a lot. When you're dealing with diabetes, you're dealing with cancer, you're dealing with hypertension, rheumatoid arthritis. The least thing that comes to your mind is, I should vaccinate this person. And that's why geriatric care for people who specialize in taking care of old people is very important. So that's the challenge. The healthcare system not even being aware to, or not, maybe they are aware, we're aware, but it's not really a priority.
Yeah, priority.
I can get it.
Yeah, that's one. Then the second challenge is the fact that some old people do not see the need for it. I know someone that said something will kill somebody one day.
Something must kill them, right?
That's one way to put it. Listen,
I'm happy to die hard. I
must
know,
die.
I know.
When death comes, here I am. Take me.
But that's why
I
we're
know
here.
someone that said that. She said, I beg, when death comes, I will just say, see me here, carry me out.
But at least if you are going, don't go in a way that everybody in the family will be useless, that they have to take care of you and spend all the money. But I know, I also know that Leah has something for us there. Leah, are you there?
Yes, Leah wants to absolutely participate in this discussion, and Doctor has raised something quite interesting that I do want to emphasize. One is a lot of our older people are actually really taking care of their health. And in our conversation, it's not only about young people thinking about their future and their lives and their health, but the conversations that need to happen today between ourselves and our parents, ourselves and our grandparents, about the care that they're including in their day-to-day lives. And as they're taking more care of themselves, paying attention to what they eat, paying attention to how they sleep, it is also the role of our parents and grandparents when they speak to their doctors to ask about vaccination. It is true that many healthcare providers or healthcare workers don't necessarily think of offering that, but we hope that this conversation is part of how somebody who's watching 50, 60, the next time you see your doctor, say, doctor, yes, we're treating my diabetes. Yes, we're taking care of this hypertension, but can we also look at what are the different vaccines that could help me in my condition today to make sure that I stay healthy, and all of the efforts that I'm doing through my diet, my staying active, are also boosted by my immunization.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Leah. And Doc, when you were talking about the debilitating effects of some of these diseases in old age, this particular disease keeps coming to our conversation, hepatitis B, that is very easily, progresses in some cases to liver cancer. And that can be really prevented, but knowledge and or ignorance, depending on how you look at it, that's one. Prostate cancer is another very common thing in men. I don't know if there's anything on the offering. That's your field. You tell us.
Prostate cancer.
Yes.
No, there's no vaccine.
Nothing. just eat right, exercise, and hope for the best.
It's right.
Cancer just hits you sometimes.
I mean, but then cervical cancer too is another thing. But that one, I know we discussed it.
No,
and
it's
said
for
it's younger girls.
You take it when you're younger, and then as an older person, there are a list of screening tests you need to do regularly. So most times when cervical cancer hits, is at the 4th or 5th or 6th decade of life, when the person is 50 or 60. So if you've been going for your regular screenings, they should have detected it.
Yeah, a long time ago.
And prevent it from even getting to that. And there are a whole lot of other things. So the message is just take your health seriously. I like what Leah, the angle Leah brought. Now ask, doctor, what are the vaccine preventable disease? What are the vaccines I can take for any vaccine preventable diseases that will help me at my age? And even if the doctor is not thinking about it, which most times we're not, it forces us to now say, okay, I'll get back to you. Let me research, or okay, you can take this, you can take that, and then it will give it to you. So it's very important that older people, all adults, take their health seriously and let the fact that they still need vaccines be somewhere in their mind. Because most times the emphasis is on children.
Yes, very much so.
And then, sorry, I have to bring this angle. There's also this fact about being suspicious of vaccines. And grandparents now influencing their children not to vaccinate their grandchildren. So, we know that, I've stayed, I was old, I took care of you like this, you didn't die. What are they saying? This is how we've done it. Why should you? And grandparents have authority, age, respect.
Yeah,
We respect
influence is there.
Influence, especially for a new mom. most times what she does with her baby is what the mother teaches her.
Yep.
So it is important that older people know the importance of vaccines, not just for themselves, but also for children, and are able to keep that culture, ingrain it in their children for their grandchildren, so that there's an intergenerational cultural awareness of the need for preventive healthcare, especially vaccination.
Before we go to the next segment, where Leah has something for us again, I want to ask you guys a question. So you talk about influence, grandparents having influence. We live in a world in the new generation where the social media, entertainment, music, pop culture, everybody's getting influenced. Nowadays, you are seeing grandmas, and mommies and daddies. They no one agree. Even themselves, they bring their A game. So how much of pop culture, fashion, or music do you think can influence? Because this is where I'm coming from. Before now, people would think, I'm already old, I'm out of the game. But now you see older people coming into the game. There are actors who are in their prime, right? Coming back to become stars all over again, if you know what I'm talking about.
We can call one or two.
We can call one or two, but we're not calling one or two. But you see, so how much of that do you think somebody's in his 70s, he sees someone like him on the big screen, just making it all over again, or becoming a celebrity for the first time? How much do you think that kind of influence can make people sit up and say, wait, it's not over for me. I should take my health seriously. So, do you think that can be a source of influence?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a source of influence. It is definitely, but it all comes back to the lack of information that vaccine is not just for kids. Because most people will see these things, see these Hollywood stars that are over 60, looking at Angela Bassett, for example, who's over 60 and still looks quite young, relatively. And people will be like, oh, she's living good, she has money, she has a trainer, she has diet, she has everything. But they
Sorry
never...
to interrupt you. Angela Bassett is too far. How about Shola Shobowale?
Okay.
You had to.
Yeah, she's from Nigeria.
How about R&B?
Yeah.
I mean, R&B is
very
fine.
He's very fine,
So,
And he's not that old,
But
actually.
she's not that old. Shola Shobowale, she's that way you're saying about actors coming back. She's shining in her screen.
yeah, so
With so she's
people in
doing,
their age bracket can feel, okay, there's nothing wrong about
Yeah.
being
You can always shine
active.
or whatever,
And
yeah.
she's a very strong and active woman. I've been on set with her several times in some
Oh.
movies that are already out, some movies that are yet to be released. So,
Okay.
Flex a bit.
Yeah.
Flex on us. Flex
she's
on
a
us.
very
flex on
strong
us.
woman. She's a very, energetic woman. And, you also want to, I believe such things can inspire older people to see that, look, because there's the mentality that once I'm a grandparent, I'm now going down.
Yeah.
So no, it doesn't have to be. So I think also culture and environment, that also can help. Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. Before we go, we're right into the next segment where I know Leah has something for us. Leah, take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this transition, Frank. What we tend to not think about is that older generations are on social media. They're just as active as the young generation. However, there are different tools that they use. One of the things that our parents and our grandparents must remember, who have always been used to getting their news on television, on radio, these are media that were vetted. These are media that had to be serious. These are media that had to be followed. However, all over social media today, everybody and anybody can say whatever, and people may not have the time or think that what is put on social media is actually not vetted, is not true, because everyone and everybody can be a doctor or can make comments that can spread. The other social media that is very common amongst our parents and our grandparents, of course, it's WhatsApp. It's something that we don't speak often about, but a lot of things get shared on social media, and it is important to keep that in mind, but also to look critically at what's posted online. We have something today specifically where one person speaks of an interaction that she had or he had with an older person, and I would like to take you there to this particular post that was put on social media. This person, a woman or a man, we do not know, is speaking about an encounter that she or he had and says, "These people drive me nuts. The nice old lady at my church learned that my sister recently was diagnosed with breast cancer." And her answer of this nice old lady at church was, "Oh, did she take the vaccine? I'm telling you, it's a danger." So according to her, the vaccine causes heart attacks, strokes, all types of cancer, shingles, and depression. Obviously, this woman heard it from somewhere. Obviously, something was passed around, and this is where she believes today. Now, over to you for your take on it. Is it something to laugh about or to cry over?
Thank you very much, Leah. So in a nutshell, what Leah is talking about is the fact that our parents and grandparents, They may not be on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, doing the trends, but one thing they have access to and they have used, trust me, they know how to find their way around Facebook and WhatsApp. The fact that misinformation or wrong information or disinformation can easily spread through this media, and they don't seem to. Everybody knows that WhatsApp message in the family group that one uncle is always forward. The fact that this thing is an issue, that they just carry information from there and they run with it, they don't care. I remember way back a few years back when it was bathed with salt during the Ebola scare. Oh, that thing spread like wildfire. People were buying bags of salt and jumping into it like. So the question is now, is this something to laugh about or to cry about? Yeah, you have a paddle next to your seat there. If you stretch down your hand by your side, you see that paddle. So the fact that this misinformation, our parents forward this misinformation very often, this is something to laugh about or cry about? Let me see yours. I don't see that. This is the first time on the show it's going to happen. We're all laughing about it. Hiya, Doc.
Let's laugh.
Why is it for you? Why is it something to laugh about?
It's funny, Is it not funny? Like, you just see something and move and share. My parents are always doing it to me. They said this. I'm a doctor, but they will still give me health advice that they got from.
Can you imagine?
From a forwarded group. So it's something to laugh about.
I know I trained you. I paid for your school fees to go to medical school, but I will still tell you
that.
that.
Go and take that.
What?
And they just anything they hear, really.
Or more.
They will just do it. As long as they say it's working. Are you sure it's working? It's working.
As long as
Let
it
me
makes
try.
sense to them.
Because all these drugs are giving me too much. So let's try something else. Sometimes also you see that old people get tired with the drugs. So many drugs.
Don't keep up.
They can't keep up. We call it polypharmacy, where you can see sometimes when you're seeing a patient, an elderly patient comes with like 10 drugs. This is for my this is for my dad, this is for my this. Sometimes they just dump it. So what did they say is working? Maybe it's this one. Let me just I'm tired of all these doctors. So that could lead to that people looking for a solution that is easier for them. So yeah, definitely.
For me, it's funny in a sense, even though it can be dangerous and sad. But for me, for now, I chose funny because so there's this old person in my family and they said, you know what, and actually experienced it. It said there's this young people going around now that they can check the state of your liver and your kidney and your heart. That you stretch your hand out. That the machine is like that. Is like an iPad. It has two probes, two wires. They will put one wire on your palm and the other wire on your palm, and they will now tell you if your kidney is good or your liver is good. Like, what? I said, I hope you didn't pay for that. The instant diagnosis.
People are paying.
It's funny, and people believe this thing. So I was at a car wash one day, and this little boy came and said, sir, you have this, once you sign up for this medical test, tomorrow they are coming to check your liver and your kidney. I said, like my liver and my kidney are like in my wallet. You just check it. I'm like, but people will believe this thing.
People believe.
And then they will recommend some supplements. God knows where it's coming from to them.
Yes, usually supplements.
And those supplements, me, I don't know. Like, where is it coming from? Do you know the source?
Supplements are very dangerous and very toxic.
They will know the
most times,
tiger dust,
yes,
python oil.
You
just rub it.
The,
I'm like,
the dosage, the concentration, you just take it. Most times people come with complications. I've been taking this, I've been taking that. You're laughing.
What about you? Why did you pick?
Because I'd rather laugh about it than be sad. Because I might sound mean, but I feel like these old people won't be here forever. So their opinion will not really matter on the long term. And I also trust that we, the future old people, I wouldn't say young people, the future young people, the future old people,
I like how you put it.
I feel like our own approach to information, to critical information in the future will be quite different from our parents. Because I feel like these past 15 years with chronic social media has had a different effect on our parents, on how they communicate with each other. When you consider that these people were the types to write letters to each other or wait a week for a phone call, now they have easy access to information that they did not have at the early stages of their lives. So they're overwhelmed by information, which is different for us in my understanding. So I believe that, like I said, once again, we the future old people at some point in the next 25, 30, 40 years, the way we grasp information won't be the same as them. Okay. So we won't be these old people that are quite...
Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully.
I mean, I was going to disagree with you when you said they are overwhelmed with information. I wanted to ask, don't you think we are a bit overwhelmed too? Because, man,
I mean, everybody's overwhelmed, but I mean, to some extent, we're still able to like differentiate a few things. They just, as long as your information makes sense, as long as it's technology, it's science, anything is possible.
Yeah.
That's how they go with it. So
And I think we have better tools to filter, right, Doc? To filter medical information. We have sources to go to. Tell us some of those sources where, people can also check, to make sure they're getting authentic information.
So in Nigeria CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, generally World Health Organization, Nigerian Federal Ministry of Health. So if you're in Lagos State Ministry of Health.
Okay.
Those are I'm careful in giving government's own.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because it's government now, so
You can go and hold them.
you can go hold exactly.
And it's their job.
Even though there are some reputable
Okay.
doctors, but those are individuals, their brand.
Yeah.
They are representing their own.
sense, yeah.
Yes. So,
But people can still go and see their doctors.
yeah, of course, your own doctors.
I know that
Nigeria.
voice
Your
always rings
doctor,
in my
go
head.
to your doctor. Your doctor.
If symptoms don't persist after 3 days, please see your doctor. I know I always hear that. Anytime I see medication, that's the first thing that comes to mind. If
Please see
symptoms
your
persist
doctor.
after 3 days,
Some don't even have doctors actually. They don't.
that's where the problem is. Man.
Yeah, there's insurance. Healthcare can be very
Hectic.
expensive in old age. It could be expensive. to
Unfortunately, the alternative can be very painful too.
And then paying for healthcare. Most people, there's a lot of problem with the elderly. Most of them, they're retired.
That's true.
Pension may not be regular. So first and foremost, they're looking for how to eat, survive. So there's before the added burden of
It's not a priority to them.
it's not
That's true.
loneliness. There's a whole lot. It's a geriatric
So we're talking
care.
about it. I'm happy you're mentioning it as a doctor, and this is another part for leaders, to sit up, tighten their belts and strap their boots and get to action. And this also, hopefully, this podcast will never leave the internet. It's going to be there permanently for as long as there's the internet. So I'm hoping and believing that young people too, middle-aged people that are also listening to these conversations, as they're listening to us, they're watching us, that will form a part of their psyche. When they finally get the opportunity to get into leadership, when it's their turn, they will do the right thing and make sure everything is well done and people are well provided for, taken care of, and hopefully everything turns out well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Leah.
Yes, just one last message as we're wrapping up. Exactly everything you said. In addition, make sure that your parents are vaccinated to protect from the future burden of having the expenses that Dr. Anire is speaking about. Make sure that they're vaccinated. It is the best insurance possible today. Make sure that they actually follow to their doctors. And if they don't have a primary healthcare physician, the healthcare center can always advise them. It might be a cost today, but it is a much smaller cost than having to deal with the disease later.
Thank you very much, Leah, and thank you very much to my guests in the studio. The ever helpful, ever incredibly supportive and resourceful Dr. Anire. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Always been available. And thank you to our special guest for today's episode.
Thanks for having me.
Fosa. And all the best in your music career. We hope you can use some of your musical talents.
Hopefully.
To promote social causes.
That we need more
For
of that.
future old people.
Yes, so.
And hopefully we get someone like Shola Shobowale on the show.
You
sometime.
cannot leave shy.
I like her. I do like her. I do like her.
Possible. Thank you guys. And thank you guys for joining us and watching. This is Back2Doc. It's season 3. Well, thank you for joining us so far. But keep watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.